Hello, good morning everyone. Today we are going to review some tips to optimize the entries for the Supertrend setup. The Supertrend, for those who still don't know it, paint these lines that we can configure in speed and smooth. And we have two states, or we are holding a long or we are holding a short. So we go long or short at these arrows. It works very good with volatile instruments, and the weak point of the setup is when we have a consolidation range or sideways. On some instruments the consolidation range is so big, like for example here, where we have too many trend reversals in row. Sometimes this doesn't mean that the setup is bad, but on this example we have a short that worked, but then a long loser, a short, also a loser, a long loser, and so on. And if we use a stop big enough, then all the trades are reversed when the following one begins. The ideal is to configure the settings to minimize these losing trades. We always are going to have a loser, but the ideal is to have big waves followed by only one or two losing or fake reversals. On this example we have a long winner and a very small short loser followed by a winner. If we can configure the settings for the Supertrend to work in this way, then we can get a profitable system. But when we have a market condition as we were as we have here, then it is very difficult to find settings to make it work. For that reason, we decided to add a secondary entry option on the Supertrend. On the Supertrend indicator we have the pullback entry. So after the trend change we have a line at where we have the entries. For example, on this short we are entering here, this is a loser, but then we enter long on the blue line, this is a winner, and a short at the red line, another winner, and then as we see we have small winners, and if we configure the settings to have at least a small winner and then a break even on the remaining of the position, we can compensate more losers when we have low volatility. The lower the volatility, the better this entry works. The problem is that when the market is closed, that usually we don't get a pullback as we have here. One of the differences that we can see is that when the market explodes, the pullback happens too late. The system that we were talking on the pullback entry worked very well today. We can see how this worked with market replay. Let's go to 6 a.m. I will remove all the drawings, and now we are short ready. We are waiting for the red line. This is a pullback line. This is an example where the trend change entry worked very good, and we are very late on the pullback entry, so usually this never works fine on the pullback mode.
Target filled.
And it was a loser. Now we have a long trend change, so we are waiting for a pullback to the blue line. Markers on this example is configured to close any position when we have a trend change. So this short was closed at a minimal loss. We are closing positions when we get an arrow. Now I am waiting for a pullback to the blue line.
Order filled.
Now we have a long.
Target
the stop
filled.
is usually
Target
located
filled.
below the blue Supertrend line. We have a target on both objectives. The classic entry would have been a loser. This is the entry, the place for an entry. The pullback was so big that it will be stopped out. Now we are not doing anything. We don't enter again on a pullback. We need a trend change to start looking for a pullback again. We have only a small profit because we had a loser on the first trade. Now we have a short trend change, so we are looking for a pullback.
Order
Again,
filled.
this trend change entry worked.
Target filled.
Maybe this is not a good pullback entry. We got only target 1 and then the trend changed.
Order filled.
Now we have a pullback entry very late.
Target
so this
filled.
is not a good entry for a pullback. This is the second time I get target 1 and then stop it out, so I should need to have
Order
an auto
filled.
break-even on the first position.
Or
We have several pullback entries.
order target filled.
And just now we are entering in the consolidation mode.
Order filled.
We had only one long winner,
Target
now a short winner.
order filled.
Another long, I guess it is a winner. All these examples, as we saw, it was a
Order
losing
target
trade entering
filled.
on the trend change mode.
Order. Target
a long
filled.
entry on the pullback. So as we saw, with this solution, using a pullback line as entry, we can minimize the troubles when the market is on sideways. Something that we are still needing to improve is not taking pullback entries, like for example here, when the pullback entry is too far from the trend change. This is another example. When the trend change entry worked very good, usually the pullback is not going to work. So the best solution is only enter on the first bars. If we have marker plus, then we can go back to the standard signals on the Supertrend Classic, but instead of entering at market, we use the pullback mode entry on markers. Instead of entering as at the triangles, the pullback entry on the indicator super trend, we enter at arrows, the trend change signal of the super trend. I will disable the exits because I am only having one signal, the arrows, and we enter at the arrows. But the entry method, instead of being at market, let's see an example with detail. The entry at market is at the open of the following bar to the signal, something like here. If we want to enter with a pullback at a better entry, at no more than, let's say, 10 bars from the signal, if we don't get a fill on the first 10 bars, we cancel the entry order. Then we can take the close of the bar of the signal bar. We are 7 points from the low of the signal bar. This is something like 14 to 15 ticks. So instead of entering at market, we specify an entry for a long. This is the arrow for a long. This is the bar where the signal happens, and from that high I will improve the entry 15 ticks to the bottom, and only want that order alive for the following 10 bars. For the shorts it is the same, but from the low of the signal bar. So let's see how this will work on the same example from 6 AM. I am using the same ATM, all the same conditions, but now the entry signals are the arrows. So my next signal is a long. We have a long, and we have the entry order, a buy limit, which is located 15 ticks from the high of the signal bar. 7.5 points is 15 ticks. And this bar will remain active only for 10 bars. If the market if market doesn't come back in the following 10 bars, then
Order
it is cancelled
cancelled.
as now. The order was cancelled, so we have no entry. Now let's see if this works for a short. We have a short signal and a short limit order, a sell limit, 15 ticks from the low of the signal bar.
Order cancelled.
Again, the order is cancelled.
Order target
So we are
filled.
looking for fast fills. If we don't get a fill like now, we have a retracement, a fast retracement. So we get a fill and a target one and trailing stop.
Target filled.
So when the market is volatile, the trend change works better and the pullback takes too long, takes too much bars to fill. So we are avoiding those entries. We have a short, taking too much,
Order cancelled.
cancelled.
Order
Now we
or
have a
target
long,
filled.
short. The long was a winner. The second position was topped out. I am needing to add an auto break even for the second position, so I need to change the ATM. And now we have a short, pullback, fill, and target. Also, the trailing stop has started. The long signal,
Order filled. Target
fill,
filled.
target, auto break even, and trailing stop. We have a short. It is taking too much
Order cancelled.
and the order is cancelled. Long,
Order filled. Target filled.
fill at the pullback. The target was filled, target one. We need to modify the auto break even. and then a trailing
Target
stop.
filled.
A short signal
Order cancelled.
almost touches the pullback. It was cancelled one bar before. It could work if we add 1 or 2 bars live to the entry. Now we have a long
Order filled. Target
fill at the
Target
pullback
filled.
and both targets are filled. So we can see that we have another option to improve the performance. It is very easy if you trade this setup manually. When you get a trend change, you only place a buy limit or sell limit order. And if you have markers, you can configure the system to enter using the mentioned settings. Using the classic Supertrend signals and sending orders from the high or low of the signal bar with your preferred pullback size and live bar for the entry order. Hope this has been useful for you, and if you have any question, please post below this video. Thank you everyone, bye bye.